Welcome to the RETSY podcast. I'm excited today. You get to hear the story of one of the most critical people at the start of RETSY. She's been such a big help. Today you're going to learn from Siena Koppelman, everything from the start of RETSY to all the success she's had in her career and where she sees the market going. I'm excited for you to check this one out.
The hard part for people to wrap their head around, though, is it does take a lot. When we purchased our house, we told them not to do any landscaping because I had saved up to do a very nice landscape yard, and we forgoed a landscape yard for 2 years so we could do that project. At the end of the day, I would love to be the agent that, you get a big closing and you go buy a nice Chanel purse or something, but that kind of twisted my mindset to be like, wait a minute, we sold our first investment property and we actually went and bought 3 more.
Welcome to the RETSY podcast. Today we're sitting down with RETSY agent Siena Koppelman. Siena,
hey guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Coming in.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, let's get into it. So we always like to ask, what did you do before real estate?
Before real estate, I went to the University of Arizona. From there, lived in LA for 2 years, which was awesome, great experience. I recruited executive and personal assistants for high-end private equity firms, celebrities, things like that. Did that for 2 years and then moved back to Phoenix. And from there, I was the executive and personal assistant for a high-end ticket broker, which was awesome. I got to put together high-end events and packages for things like the Masters, Super Bowl, Victoria's Secret fashion show. I got to attend a lot of really cool events, which was awesome. And then from there, transitioned into being an executive and personal assistant to a commercial real estate development company. And they were the developer that developed Mountain Shadows and Mauna Lucia. So kind of started in real estate, but more on the commercial side, still in the supporting role. And then from there, I was put in touch with Chris, and that's how I made the jump into residential real estate.
Should we dig into that story?
I
want to clear the waters because it's like, all right, so this is, back in the launch days.
Yes.
And Chrissy was going on maternity leave. I was overwhelmed. It was crazy. And the one thing I told Chrissy, I'm like, hey, if you can find somebody as awesome as you, train them and everything, I want you to take as much maternity leave as you feel like you need and you're happy. And, it's a special time and this and that. And I remember being really distracted. And she's like, hey, I found the perfect person and this and that. And I'm like, good, hire. She's like, no, she wants to sit down with you. And I was like, okay, I'll find time. And do you remember we sat down?
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, do you feel comfortable with all this? And do you feel like you could do it? And I knew, Chrissy's never wrong when it comes to somebody. And I'm like, okay, all right, you're hired. Tell us how we want to pay you and this and that. And we just kind of rolled with it.
Just rolled with it.
And then flash forward, 2 years later, a year later, one of my friends I go fly fishing with and everything. And he's like, or I find out that you worked for him and we hired you from him. I didn't even know. I never asked where you came from or what you did before. Those are not.
Not how Chris works. We know this.
So anyways, I call him and I'm like, and I get his voicemail and he's my buddy. So I'm messing with him. I'm like, hey, I just found out Siena used to work for you and we hired her. I just need you to know, I didn't know she worked for you when we hired her. But also I understand why you're pissed off because she's awesome. Click. I hung up.
Yes.
To this day, Jerry's still he's like, no, you're an asshole. You knew. And I'm like, I swear to God, I didn't know. So set the record straight. Did I know you worked for him before you told me?
No.
Okay.
And in all fairness, it is funny. Chrissy, so I had reached out to Chrissy to sell our house in 2020 when COVID was going crazy and it was during the summer. And I had talked to her. She was pregnant at the time. And I was like, hey, I think I actually want to start switching into more of a residential role. And she was like, I've got it. Like, this is perfect. And similar thing, she's like, okay, you're hired. And I was like, no, I need to meet this person first. And she was like, Chris doesn't really work like that. Like, he trusts me, you're good. I was like, no, I need to sit down with this guy first and make sure, like,
now that you know me, do you understand how?
Yes, yes, to a T. But yes.
I'm not a micromanager.
Not a micromanager. No, it was so funny. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I had my resume all printed out for Chris, like so professional. And Chris was like, cool, let's just grab coffee. We'll chat for like 45 minutes. Asked me about like my family background. And he was like, yeah, we're good. Like, you good? I'm good here. And I was like, okay, I guess this is it. It was funny. But so in July of 2020, that's when I started with Chris at launch. Chrissy taught me for a month kind of all the ins and outs, and she left on, well, I guess maybe I started in June, and then she left on maternity leave because she had her first baby in August.
Yeah.
So she was there for about a month, and so then it was just me with Chris, helping, learning, drinking from a fire hose, taking in as much as I possibly could, TCing for the Morrison team. And I'll never forget the call that I got from Chris, and it was like beginning of October, and he's like, hey, so I think we're going to start our own brokerage. I was like, okay, don't know what that entails, but when are we doing this? Chris was like, this week. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I get married on Saturday, right, Chris? And he was like,
oh, I forgot about that.
I was like, so we're doing this like right now? And he was like, yeah, like I already told them at launch, we got to get rolling. And I was like, okay, let's get rolling then. And that is, so the funny story is RETSY and my wedding anniversary are like same day.
October 2nd?
And my wedding anniversry is the 3rd. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. It's my mom's birthday when we started RETSY too.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
God, it's like, there's so much going on, and the way my mind thinks, it's like,
it's a little bit of a blur now.
To that. Yeah, but you own that role. I just remember like, when Chrissy went on maternity leave, I'm like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Because she handled a lot of stuff that I was not good at. Yeah. And you stepped in that role and did an amazing job of it. And a lot of people don't realize this, but like the Morrison team was RETSY when we started the company, right? Mm-hmm. And we reserved percentage points for the Morrison team, and Siena is a partner in our company. And not a lot of people are partners in the company, and I think the investment paid off and the loyalty paid off. Remember, there's one agent that didn't come over that's kind of bitter.
Yes, I remember that.
But that said, it's like everybody on our team came over, aside from one agent, and I kind of promised them, I'm like, hey, we're going to do it different. Everything we didn't get at the previous brokerage, we're going to get here. We're going to hire the right people. You remember that first call? I was so heated too. Yes. I was passionate about it. I had just had a huge argument with one of the main guys over at the previous company, and I was just like hot. And I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. It was just kind of like a sense of relief, but also like, I think you guys saw how passionate I was about it. Like before the company was even a thing, before we even really had a name, it was like I had clarity of like what it could be.
Where it was going.
And you probably remember that conversation. Did I keep my promises?
Yes. Okay. And I do have to say, even when Chrissy always talked about you in the beginning, it was like, she was like, Chris has just got this vision. He's a leader. And I feel like there's some people that are, and she's always said that. And I feel like that's proven to be true time and time and again. There's people that are really good at business, but there's people that are good at business that are also great leaders. And I feel like you had a vision, and I feel like you put other people first too. And it was just kind of like, we stepped into this, and I was very unsure of what to do. I had only had 3 months essentially in doing commercial or residential real estate. And I feel like I would call you and be like, Chris, I don't know if this is a stupid question, but I don't know what to do. And there was no ever like,
there's never stupid
questions.
Yeah.
Like you were always like, yep, we got this. This is what we're going to do. Look into this. We'll get it handled. And I feel like it just kept on rolling from there.
Yeah. It was a crazy time, though. So,
it was a crazy time.
But original. So, not a lot of people remember that. It's funny. I don't think a lot about it, but it was like, it's just like it was, COVID was going on, remember? And it was just like, and I was working on that QR code software, and I'm like, this is how we're going to start it. Theoretically, the cards were stacked against us completely.
Yeah.
When we started RETSY, COVID was happening. Nobody was selling. Things were going crazy. Homes were coming off the market. Deals were falling apart left and right. And I'm like, hey, guys, let's just start a brokerage, right?
Let's start our own thing.
And, remember we had that little office in Industrious? I'm like, this is RETSY right now.
Yes.
And this is, during COVID, you could find parking anywhere. Right now, it's a nightmare to park there. But, and then we grew into 3 offices and then a building, and we had some really great agents join us. And you were the backbone of our company from the very beginning, all the TCing and everything. Forever grateful to you for that. Like, you know this, though, but, like, I'm not one that holds back compliments, but I mean, you held the ship together.
It was an interesting time. It was a lot of, I know, I tried
I was
to
the
think
designated broker. How scary is that?
It's very scary.
It's a good thing that didn't last for very long.
Yeah.
We need to get Matt over ASAP.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we were kind of talking about too, is I was like, from October to Matt came in January, and then it was kind of like us 3 handling everything. And then Lindsay came on in April, but from that...
That's right, because she came over with Gable Phillips.
Yeah. But from that time, I was handling everything outside of designated broker. You were started helping with onboarding, but we were doing all of the onboarding, accounting, marketing. Thank gosh for Darian. She was still at the title company at the time. But do you remember? I relied on her. I mean, Darian and I talked for hours each day because I was like, how do we do this? You remember printing signs in the beginning when we had to figure out how to get the QR codes and make them adaptable? And
we had to do one
struggle.
sign at a time and get them to connect. And the software, it was evolving then. Which, by the way, 2.0 of that software is like pretty much done. I don't know how we're going to implement it, though, but it's so much better. But that said, it's like, like everything coming together. I mean, it was a true team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I think I finally called you, and I think I was like almost in tears. And I was like, Chris, I think I worked 90 hours this week. I was like, we need to hire more people. And you were like, yep, I'm on it. Like, we'll figure this out. And then we just started stacking good people. Lindsay, we finally hired an office person, Carolina at the time.
Yes.
And then finally I was able to okay, now some of the TC work can be transferred and some of the office work and onboarding and stuff. And I feel like we created a good team, and then again just kept rolling.
During the whole time, we still had to sell homes, right?
Yeah,
keep the ship afloat, selling some homes, and I just feel like it was a great time, and we had some big agents that were paying attention that came over, and I remember Shauna was over, and then she was one of the first ads, and then Gable Phillips Group. I mean, we just did a podcast with Babby, and it was just reliving those times. It was just crazy. I mean, you guys put so much trust in me that I don't even know if I deserved it, but look at us now, right?
Yeah. Well, it almost feels like it was just yesterday too. Yeah. I'm like, that was 5 years ago.
But I still kind of feel like we're just starting. I mean, really we are. So, but that said, thank you for all your help in the beginning and everything. And your career's evolved quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot over the last 5 years.
Dating a boy to marrying a boy and 2 kids.
Yes.
Right,
I know. You've seen it since the beginning. Yeah. From
the beginning days of RETSY, what are we forgetting about? What else should we share?
I mean, I think it was just a crazy time learning everything. Again, I was able to TC for everybody, which I feel like honestly was a huge help in my career. So
TCing, for those listening in, is transaction coordination. So at RETSY, I believe top producing agents, which is a majority of what RETSY has, should just focus on their clients, their follow-up, showing their listings, and just doing the real estate side of things. When you bog them down with a bunch of marketing and doing their own files and paperwork and all that stuff, they should know how to write a contract, but they should be able to dictate it while they're heading to another appointment. So someone like Siena at that time would write the contract for them, get it over to them to review, send it to the other agent, would babysit the timelines. I needed that especially. Otherwise, I would just miss inspection deadlines or miss anything. Not that I ever did, because the Chrissy to you handoff was perfect, but you kept us on time, on schedule, so we never missed a deadline and protected our clients.
Yes.
And also kind of set the infrastructure for when Lindsay came over to get that in place with all the transaction coordinators we have now, to where they become part of that agent's team. They know when they're in town, out of town, write the contracts. So those of you who don't know what TCing is, it's a vital part to the integrity of a brokerage.
Yes.
Because the agent that does their own contract, their own marketing, and their own selling usually is not a top producing agent.
Yeah, it gets, like you said, gets bogged down. Yeah. I do feel like in the beginning too, it was so huge in helping with my career, because I feel like as a lot of times as a newer agent, you don't know how to anticipate situations that you're not in before. And as a TC, I got the opportunity to be talking to all of these top producing agents, and they would come to me on like, oh, this is the situation that we're in right now. And I was able to learn from them on, oh, this is a situation that could potentially come up. You don't know what to do until it comes up. And once you get to learn from them and how they handle it, I feel like kind of learning different personalities, seeing how different agents handle different situations, different buyers, different sellers, different opposing agents. It was nice to just get a wide variety of intel and knowledge from all of our top producers, which I think was huge.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
Well, I mean, we had some great minds in the industry, and like, when you have that great base of good agents, you only attract other good agents. And that was kind of our trend. It's just like, we really didn't take appointments with agents that didn't have good reputations, or we turned away the ones that would bog down the systems and overutilize the tools, and just kind of attracted the right agents to the company. And you saw it every single day.
Yeah.
It's like there would be a new person in the conference room, and I remember you would walk by and be like,
yeah, it was fun. Don't say anything yet. Yeah, it would be very hush-hush. Yeah.
Keep all that confidential, but yeah.
So it was fun.
As you were like talking through that, like all those transactions, I had to like go in and just look. Like, do you have any idea how many files you closed as a TC from the start until April when Lindsay started?
No idea.
172.
Okay.
In 4 months.
In 4 months.
Yeah.
On top of handling all of our accounting, marketing, helping Chris, onboarding.
Yeah.
Hence why I called Chris almost in tears once, and I was like, I don't think I can do it anymore.
Yeah, we didn't have internal labor laws back then, did we?
I'm 1099. I think that's where I'm not a W-2 employee. You get to pass on stuff like that.
But it was so critical, though. I mean, really, like, you got to see
closing a day, basically.
Yeah.
Like, more or less.
So we did $1.6 billion, $1 billion in 16 months.
18 months.
Or 18 months.
A year and a half.
$1 billion in 18 months. I mean, like, it was unheard of. I mean, you know how long it took us to do it at the other company?
No.
It's like 26 months.
Wow.
One could argue prices went up a little bit, but still, it's like, I like the story of like, we did it in 18 months.
Yeah.
Not a lot of brokerages come out of thin air and do that. They come into the market, they'll buy agents or they'll buy brokerages and they'll hit high numbers. But organically, with that quality of agents, I always like to harp on, like, we have the most productive agents in the industry. We're number one for highest average sale price for, a large brokerage. And a lot of brokerages can't say that.
Yeah.
So everybody can call themselves luxury by putting luxury under their name. But, like, we walk the walk.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt we built something very special collectively, and you're such a huge part of that. So.
I don't know that our agents know that whole story. Like,
I don't think they do.
I hope they listen to this. This should be the excerpt we put on social media right here.
Most of our agents don't know the little behind the scenes of how it started and
how much work you put into it. I mean, we all worked really hard, but like, you had the detailed mind. So
it's fun. I do. I mean, it's still fun. I feel like even Lindsay and stuff, even you and I joke, like, if ever there's like a random question on like, how did we do this from the beginning? Lindsay's like, oh yeah, I call you because you've known it since the beginning. And so any random thing I can think of that's like, wait, how did we do this way back in the day? Like, yep, I'm here to help. So, but from that, which was awesome, I know we kind of talked, I had done all the TC stuff, learned a lot, learned kind of every aspect on starting the brokerage, which was super integral, I think, and had sat you down and kind of said, okay, I want to stop being the TC, stop on that side, and move into more of a sales agent capacity. From there, How
many years do you think you were TCing before we moved over to sales?
Less than a year. Because I think, when Lindsay started in April, that was kind of the like transition, getting her comfortable with more agents. And then I started ramping down. So it was probably about a year. After she ramped up to take on more agents, I kind of ramped down, passing all the agents off. And then in about June is when I started helping on a team for an individual that was in our brokerage and learned a lot there. was some very important lessons, some very tough lessons. Ultimately, wasn't the right fit. Again, you learn from the good and the bad, and I think that was important. Did that for several months, and again, Shauna was one of the other founders who's just awesome. I'll never forget kind of calling her, and I was like, hey, I don't want to be a part of this team anymore. Are you going to make me leave RETSY? Like, is that something that could happen? And she was like, absolutely not. She was like, no chance. Yeah. She was like, you're not going anywhere. Don't worry about it. And that was like my biggest fear, was like not having to have this conversation of not wanting to work with this individual anymore. It was more like, shoot, am I not going to be able to be a part of this organization that we created and stuff? And that was my like biggest fear of what could come out of that conversation. And she was like, absolutely not. I was like, no, like, are you sure? Is there no way? And she was like, nope, no shot. Like, you're staying here. You're stuck.
You remember when we talked where I'm like, ask me to pick, I'm going to pick you 10 times out of 10.
Yes. Yeah, and that was nice. And
luckily I didn't have to pick. So.
Luckily we didn't have to pick. Yes. So kind of from there, did the team supporting thing, learned again a lot, got to see a lot of different personalities and how they deal with different individuals in the business. A lot of things which I learned of how I didn't want to be an agent, but also a lot of things that I never would have thought of on how you could structure different deals. And, I had purchased a home in 2017. We sold it in 2020. Purchased a second home in 2021. But, there's only being an agent that's young, the more you can learn about different transactions, about purchasing things on your own, and being thrown into an individual that was, very creative in the sense of how he put deals together was, again, a very integral part. Kind of just thinking things differently. The house that we purchased in 2021 wasn't even on the market, kind of learning that you could really push and go for deals that are off market and how to push for that. And to be able to do that for our own home and learn from that was something that I think, was what I learned from that individual, and kind of repositioning how you think of just not your tried and true, what's on the MLS is only what's for sale. Like, that's not true at all. Like, we looked at this house that was being built and I was like, I want to live in that home. What do I need to do to get it? And to be able to convert that to what I can do for others in my business, I think was also kind of a value in what I got to learn.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from when you take a top agent, you analyze and break it down. There's so many ways to put a deal together. I love how you said that just because it's on the MLS doesn't mean it's not for sale, or like just because it's on the MLS doesn't mean it's not. Yeah, other things aren't for sale, but keeping a good pulse on that in the market and all that stuff. I mean, I used to know an agent. He had passed away recently, or not recently, like 3 years ago, but he used to keep a spreadsheet in Arcadia of like every home that was coming, build, and like clockwork, he would call me, a guy named Bob Bullock, if you can remember him. Like, he was an incredible, awesome dude. And Bob would update the spreadsheet. I'm like, I'll give you all the info on all my specs that I'm building and all my clients are building and all that stuff, but I need a copy of the sheet. He's like, absolutely, Chris. And we had offices across from each other, so it was really easy to get. But there was this whole off-market list, and it would just give us so much power when a buyer would call. You're just doing everything in your power to have something that Zillow doesn't have, right? And that gives us a clear differentiation, which was also a big contributor to why we had all the pocket listings and Connect, and why that was so important for all of us is we need data that's not available out there that our clients can rely on us for.
Which is huge.
And then we need to know how to creatively put deals together. There's always a way to get it together. So.
Well, and especially in that time frame that you bought your house, I mean, inventory was 5,000-6,000 homes on the MLS total.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, so
it's
like
being,
yeah.
So
there's nothing. 5,000 is like nothing because like 4,000 of them are uninhabitable.
And it was an 85018. So yes.
Yeah. Even less.
Even less. So I started kind of with the team, then branched out from there and just kind of went individual doing sales. So ramping up my business even more, just connecting with a lot of people, partnering, I think, with really good agents within RETSY, not necessarily being on a team, but I think what RETSY does really well is just the ability to collaborate outside of just teams. Whether I feel like you also helped Matt too, and kind of being when we had agents these top producers that were going out of town, they would be like, well, who can I rely on for help? And you'd be like, hey, call Siena. She'd be happy to help. And, I got to show Julie Rohr's properties. I helped Babby with a buyer, Shauna here and there. And then just being able to partner with big agents.
Me on several deals.
Chris on several deals. Yes. Yep. Brought Chris some investment deals and stuff. Yeah. And so
Elm was like one of our most profitable deals we had ever done.
Yeah,
you found it.
I found that one. Yeah. So that was another thing, was starting to just learn. Elm was an awesome one. I brought you that. And then I had also brought you, I don't know if you remember, another deal. It was on the other side of 36 to you and Scott. Wasn't the most favorable location. And
did we build this one?
No, that was the one that you passed on, and I built it.
You guys did and crushed it.
Yeah. So again, just kind of working.
And in my defense, it was on the other side of 36.
I agree.
It was kind of like basically the earth drops off at 36th Street for me in my investment life.
Yep. No, totally. And I mean, we shopped it to a couple people, and again, I think just working with agents like Chris, we just I just tried to suck in as much information as I can. And that was another thing, is seeing agents that were between you, Adam Hisme, agents that were involved in projects and how they could not only a little bit diversify what they were doing in real estate. I was like, oh, and I'll never forget, shopped it to a couple people. Everybody had said no. And I was just, my husband and I were drinking wine one night, and I was like, what if we do it? Like, is that ludicrous? Like, our best friend's a GC, so that's super helpful. And it was kind of like, listen, we reviewed it with them, and we were like, worst case scenario, we think we could break even. And if most investors would be like, that's awful, but for us to just try and our hand in something else and to try and get into that space, we were like, hey, if we that would suck, but we would also break even, and we would learn a lot, and we could potentially roll that into the next one. So
it was a super profitable one, though, right?
It was super profitable. Yeah, it was awesome. So,
and, not only that, but clients that are working with you will lean on your advice, and knowing that, I mean, you'd seen a lot of the homes we've built. I mean, you were there for footings, you were there for drywall, pre-drywall, why you need to make sure the door swings are marked before they order the doors, and so you don't have weird, where you got to close this door to access this closet in a bathroom. It's like, you got to see it all, but you bring a lot to the table when you know that. And then when you can do it yourself, your investors trust you.
Yes,
and
I would 100%
that's how
agree.
Scott and I met, is like an agent wouldn't call him back, and we started working together. And the fact that I knew what I was doing, became trust that turned into a great friendship.
Yep, I agree.
Which most recently, him and I just won the Ponderosa tournament up in Forest Highlands.
There you go.
I need to toot my own horn on that in case anybody wants to know. I could be good at golf one day out of the year.
You just got super lucky.
We won the whole damn thing, the shoot off, everything.
I don't think I've heard that at least a dozen times.
I know. I just took the trophy out of our bed. Kelly was getting annoyed with me sleeping with the trophy.
It's it's about time. Calm down now, Chris.
No, but anyway, so I mean, think about that, because when I first met Scott and then the deals we did, but it's just you learn everything in those deals. So now clients can come to you and they know what flooring to get, how you can get better pricing on it, how you don't go with the status quo, which roofers to go with, which roofers not to go with, how to get framing done. And then I just feel like every agent, we're strongly, how do I classify this? We encourage our agents to do investment deals like this. If you believe there's meat on the bone, why sell it? Do it. Do the deal. It supplements your income. Also, I think there's a really cool strategy to sinking all your money into a house, because you literally live paycheck to paycheck while you're doing it. And then you get that big payday, and you have to discipline yourself not to go buy a new car or, buy a rental home or get it into the next flip, and you continue to build it. I mean, Kelly and I have gone from deal to deal to deal, most of them with Scott, and everyone, even during COVID. I mean, I think there's one deal we maybe lost money on during COVID.
Yeah.
But every deal, there's sometimes you make a little bit and sometimes you make a lot.
Yeah. And it's a gamble. And that was kind of our thing too. And like you said, I feel like the hard part for people to wrap their head around, though, is it does take a lot. When we purchased our house, we told them not to do any landscaping, because I had saved up to do a very nice landscape yard, and we foregoed a landscape yard for 2 years so we could do that project. And I mean, these are just things.
But how happy are you that you did it?
So happy.
Yeah.
But and at the end of the day, I would love to be the agent that, you get a big closing and you go buy a nice Chanel purse or something. But that kind of twisted my mindset to be like, wait a minute. When this comes in, it was like, okay, we sold our first investment property and we actually went and bought 3 more. So,
Yeah.
rather than even taking the
Congrats.
payout, it was kind of like, okay, we saw what a little bit of sacrifice could do. Let's just keep on rolling that. So we've got one that we turned into a short-term rental, kind of leaning on what you've done in the past. Adam Hisme is also, as you know, just the best for advice at stuff like this. He had suggested kind of using that as well. In addition to having projects. So we turned one into a short-term rental, and then we have 2 projects that are being built right now.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's fun.
I'm so excited for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, every agent needs to do a build, We have that bus tour. It's not the typical bus tour, but we're doing a build tour. I think we have about 20 or 30 agents that are very interested in going on the bus, but we're taking Adam. RETSY has a lot of builders that also hang their license with us.
Yep.
So we have 4 or 5 builders that are with RETSY lined up we're going to take the agents on a bus. We're going to start in the morning and hit like a finished pad,
Just
right?
Pad, yeah.
And explain why do you finish the pad. And then we're going to go to a house with footers and probably pre-pour, with all the rebar and everything, and talk about the different inspections throughout that process. Then we're going to take them to framing and then electrical and what to look out for. And each builder within RETSY is going to showcase their project, their product, and a little bit about them and take them through the inspections through the process. So even if an agent hasn't done a project like, we have, they can understand the build process and what's important and what to look out for their clients. Adam, of course, calls me. He's like, "You want to grab coffee?" And I'm like, "Are you happy or are you sad?" He's like, "I'm very happy." I'm like, "Okay, let's go have coffee." And then he's like, "I got this idea. We should have the agents understand the whole build process because they call me all the time and they don't understand the build process like they should.
100%.
So if we do this," he's like, "I think you'll have a really good participation." I think half the room raised their hand at the last roundup of let's do this.
100%.
But I want to go on it because as much as I know, I still don't know. Not like a
I'm the same
builder.
way. Yeah.
So.
No.
Yeah. I think that's going to be awesome when we do
I
that.
don't think you guys have a choice. You have to be on the bus.
Yeah. And I do think it's just super valuable for agents to understand, like you said, that whole process and what it takes to actually build and the different intricacies. And, it definitely, it's hard and it takes some sacrifices and it takes a lot of time and money and energy. And
I may have you tell the story with the numbers on your build. I'm going to share a few of mine because I want to inspire the agents to do it. I really feel like every real estate agent should do a flip property and learn how to budget for it and learn how to go without until you have it sold and then learn to reinvest it. And I mean, that's how you go from having thousands out to hundreds of thousands out to millions out into projects, Eventually you got to pull that ripcord and call it retirement, but it's also fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love seeing a project through. I love walking by. That one we're doing on 57th, I drive by that twice a day.
Yeah.
And I love walking in there. All of a sudden the cabinets are there and the stone's done. And there's a sense of completion there.
There's a sense of completion. And I also think there's something, you do it in your neighborhood. All of the projects that we have are walking distance from where I live. And I think, too, it's kind of fun to feel like you have a footprint in the neighborhood. Not only do you live there, you love where you live, you're selling the neighborhood, but it's like, hey, I love it so much. I'm not only investing here, but we're creating homes that are standing here and that we get to drive by and be like, oh yeah, that's a home that we created. We literally, I have a 2.5-year-old and a 3-month-old, but my 2.5-year-old came with me to we call it the construction house. Once a week, more than that even. I mean, there's pictures of him literally right after birth during framing and stuff. And so it's just fun to be able to be like, oh yeah, that was our house that we put in the neighborhood and that other people get to enjoy now. So
this is gorgeous. I know when you guys were staging it, I hadn't seen it since you started the project. And I'm like, I got to go check it out. And I pull up and I remember I think Jen was there doing something with her dishes and she's just like, oh shit, Chris is here. I'm like, no, I just wanted to see the house and say hi. And I'm like, this is gorgeous. It turned out amazing.
Yeah,
so
it was fun.
You guys have really good taste.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it definitely, it's tough.
And not only that, but you work with a lot of great designers. Do you remember the designer that you took over?
Who?
On 57th?
Oh, on 58th.
58th.
Oh,
I get
yes.
my streets confused.
Yes.
And now
Oh,
you're doing a
she's
lot
amazing.
of business with her, and she's
Yes.
extremely talented.
She's so talented. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I mean, like the thing is, she trusts you and knows that you know these whole processes, and you can have real conversations. So,
that was
and I don't
very
think she'd
big.
list with anybody but you because you helped her so much.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Chris was on the listing side of that, and I represented the buyer on that. And that was another big learning curve for me in terms of like, just with the build process and getting change orders and, and working with a builder and an investor. And, a lot of people don't understand that a lot of times those are two different people that you're dealing with, and they're not the same person. And it was,
we had a
learned
difficult
lot.
builder that wasn't like getting change orders from the buyer and like expected one of us to pay for it. I'm like, you got to get the change order signed. Like,
Matt
it is what it
remembers
is.
That one.
Do you remember that one?
I do vaguely, yeah.
Like, did anybody ever pay for the pool on that one, or the builder that he didn't? The builder paid for the pool. He did not get the change order, and he was just doing the work on the random requests of people. So
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we learned a lot in that transaction.
Yes.
I look at every transaction like if you don't learn a lesson, like you missed something or you weren't paying attention. But
100%.
that was a beautiful house.
Oh,
Gosh.
she's so talented.
Yeah.
It's unreal. I mean, she's just got the best taste. I
Yeah.
would love to see her do even more specs and stuff because, I mean, I do think
you guys listed one for her in Cheney. What was funny is I saw the photos.
Casablanca.
I mean, Casablanca. Casablanca, yeah. I saw the photos and I knew it was exactly her designing it. And then when I looked at it, I expected to see your name, and your name was there. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
it's been fun.
yeah. Did you guys sell that?
No,
Not yet?
not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. It's beautiful.
It just
but,
got listed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, just got
we just-
listed. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, gorgeous property. All right, why don't you tout it on here? Let other
right. If
people look it up.
anybody, a nice, it's beautiful Casablanca, which is historic neighborhood. It is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. It is very lock and leave, but it is designed and so dialed in. I mean,
Yeah.
they did an amazing job. Casablanca has a Moroccan feel to it of what it originally was, and they did a really nice ode to it with, lime wash walls. There's quartzite throughout. I mean, it's just by far one of the most gorgeous, well done lock and leave properties that there is and available.
What's the name of Jasmine's company?
Haute Design and Interiors. Haute House, excuse me, and Design and
How
Interiors.
do you spell it?
Haute. Yep. But she's awesome.
She does some amazing design work. Yeah.
She's very talented.
Yeah.
Yep. So rolled that kind of into projects with her, which has been amazing. Builds that we've done together. We had Elm, which was one of my bigger sales. Jennifer Burgess and I had the pleasure of listing one on Bar Z that was for another designer that we got to work with, who's since unfortunately moved out of Arizona, but another beautiful, well done property, very talented designers. And then most recently, Jennifer Burgess and I together listed Homestead, which came to market at $17 million. So that's been a fun kind of trajectory and career of starting as TC and starting RETSY 5 years ago to now a huge career.
And you thought a
mile high
$3.5 million sale on Elm was a big sale.
did.
$17 million is like ring the bell. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So
Congrats.
it's been a fun ride.
Yeah.
Got to keep it going.
It's amazing, like how 5
I like
years
how you
has
guys
gone by.
collaborate too.
Me
And some of the videos and stuff you guys
Yeah.
come up with, they're just
Yeah.
so innovative and not your normal, hi, I'm this agent standing in front of this house and here are the features and call me. It's
Yeah.
like you guys actually have themes to your videos and cool stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and the builder.
So I don't mean to knock agents, but like 95% of the videos are the same ones we all shoot. So.
Yeah. We got lucky too. The builder, their Tinker Development.
Tinker, yeah.
They love to have fun. And
He
so,
likes creativity.
Yep. Their
He's like, wait, I get to be on a
videographer.
camera? Just tell me what to do.
Oh yeah. Well, and they're always like, hey, so like, which one of you isn't afraid of heights? We're gonna need you to do something here, and we're like, great, just let us know. Like,
You're like,
yeah, literally, Jen and I, we get calls constantly, and they're like, can you wear fake contacts for a zombie video? We're like, sure, I guess we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yep, whatever you guys need.
We can
So,
accommodate.
you were
Yeah.
like, I'm so in.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot more fun than your traditional videos. So it's been worked with a lot of great people, and again, just been able to partner with a lot of good agents. Jen and I recently had one in North Scottsdale that I brought another agent on who was up there for help and stuff. And I feel like RETSY just does such a good job of that, even though you're kind of an individual agent. Everybody at RETSY just is like you can pick up the phone and call anybody and be like, hey, can you help me? Can, whether you're sick, whether you have something come up with your kids or just need help with a listing or a listing appointment. I've called, agents to be like, hey, would you mind, or how would you handle this situation? And never had any pushback from any of our agents, no matter how big they are, on like that they wouldn't put us like ahead of themselves to help. And they're like, absolutely, let's get coffee. Let me walk you through this, which I love about our agents. I think we've done a really good job there.
Some great collaborations there.
Yeah, I mean, the culture is so important, and we've gone to great lengths to protect it. And
I love the more specialization, the fact that, like, if I go to like McDowell Mountain Ranch, I know who to call, right? Or Silverleaf, I know how to call. It's just like you have those people. Southeast Valley, yes. West Valley.
Yep.
People don't realize how many deals we do in the West Valley.
No.
We have a couple teams out there that just crush it.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
And some of
and
our
their price points have moved up quite a bit, too.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. It's been fun.
All right, Matt, what do you got on the question list?
Yeah.
well, we always like to. Well, we covered what attracted you to RETSY. I mean,
She didn't have a choice.
She didn't have a choice.
Yeah. It's essentially my child at this point. Like, I can't leave it.
But we do always like to ask, what's your favorite RETSY tool?
Favorite RETSY tool? Is it terrible to say Matthew Morrison?
Are you calling me a tool?
The only person in our company that can legally fire you and you call him a tool.
No, but seriously, I mean, we have a lot of great technology tools, and technology is definitely Chris's focus. But I do think, I would say, probably utilizing Matt, and you've always been the one that when I'm like unsure on something, it's like, hey, Matt, I need help with this.
Yeah.
How would you structure this? What are your opinions on this?
Yep.
I feel like you're a great resource. I'll never forget, we were in a sticky deal with an agent recently on the other side, and we came back to her and we were like, our designated broker requires that it be written like this, and this is to protect both sides and make it very clear and not ambiguous. And she goes, I've heard this about Matthew Morrison. I was like, what? I literally had to call Matt after, and I was like, you were just like spoken about like some top celebrity or something.
That's my favorite story, and it would make sense if it was like like one of the agents we work a ton with, because there's a lot of agents that we do a lot of cross sales with, but like as far as I know,
we've never done anything with her.
RETSY's never done a deal with this agent.
Yeah, which means Matthew Morrison's name just gets out there that
apparently.
Dude, you have great bedside manner. Yeah, I mean, you have great attorneys too. If you need to call them for anything, you can.
Yep.
And, I love that. But, you're asked for everything. A lot of people don't realize this, but like you have companies with 7,000, 8,000 agents. They have like 5 people like jockeying all their agents.
Yeah.
But like the main DB, has Matthew in his phone and vice versa. Like the actual mobile number for the main DBs. And they know, like, if they have an issue with a RETSY agent, they can call Matthew directly. If we have an issue with, name the brokerage, you can just get to the guy that makes the decision and not have to jockey through all these people that are just kind of like file guarding, And it's not bad or it's not good, but it's just like, that's how you have 7,000 agents in one DB.
Yes.
Like, you don't the resources.
You
have to.
And I think that's, again, what being at RETSY is just invaluable in a sense. Like you said, we've got attorneys that we can call, but also Matt, that it's like anytime, we've got a question, if there's something that you don't know, it's not like you're reaching a random designated broker that you don't know and that you don't really trust, because I feel like there's also designated brokers at other brokerages that you're like, they gave you wrong information. Like, that isn't even the case. I mean, I've called Matt before on a deal and I'm like, their designated broker literally told them this. And Matt's like, no, that's not true.
It's not hard to get a broker's license. You got to remember, I was our DB for a couple months. True. How scary is that?
That's true.
Right? Because I call Matthew for everything. And sometimes I love it because I'm like, dude, I just can't deal with this. And he's like, I got it. Yeah. And then it just gets resolved. Yeah.
It's great. Well, and a lot of times too, I'm like, I call Matt and I'm like, hey, I know the answer, but I just want to make sure that I am right about the answer. Like, am I thinking this through?
That is the majority of the conversations, though. The agents usually know.
You can have a couple agents at each other's throats, and like the brokers in the Valley, I think, do a really good job of just working together. What's the legality? What's the likely outcome? What's the fair outcome for each party? And I kind of feel like you guys have your own channels in which you guys communicate on and making sure that things get resolved. And then the fact that if we need to bring an attorney on the line to prove a point, we can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think more than anything, it's just picking up the phone. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
having to communicate. Yeah,
yeah,
not getting lost in text or email and all that stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's one of my fun Matthew
That's-
Morrison stories, though.
That is one of my favorite broker stories because I like you would expect it would be like, I mean, somebody that we do a lot of deals with.
And
like,
it was just a random,
yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, his name's getting around Compass, apparently.
apparently. Well,
Good job, Matt.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, the way she said it was very, like, I literally got off the phone and I was like, I gotta call Matt. This is
Just
great.
very matter of fact.
Yeah, it was good. But no, we've got, I mean, all of our technology from the ads to the retargeting, it's all great. But I do think I know they're not necessarily tools, but I do think the people within our brokerage are such a huge part to what's helped me become a better agent. And, you can implement that all day, but being able to have agents that you can call and are like, I've never dealt with this situation before. What do I do? Or being able to call Matt and be like, hey, legally, how do I handle this and stuff? And they always answer the phone. You never have to worry that, nobody's going to call you back kind of a thing, I think is a huge benefit to what's helped me in our career and what helps a lot of our agents.
yeah, makes the brokerage stronger. And, I just feel like great broker advice is so key.
So key.
So.
Yeah. And from other agents too. And just, again, knowing that I could call you and being like, Chris, I've got a listing appointment. I've never dealt with a situation like this, or it's a unique house. What's your opinion on X, Y, and Z? I know you would put down everything and be like, yeah, let's talk it out. Let's figure out how to get you, this listing.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I think all of our partners are willing to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of them are great.
And our agents. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call anyone for anything.
Yeah.
Where I had a desert, I want to say Desert Mountain, but I'm wrong. Eagle Mountain? I don't know. And like Tanya Hoffman's our pro up there. I called her immediately and she's like, oh, this is the membership that's included and this is what it costs per month. And there's just, do you want me to introduce you to the director of golf? Do you want me to do that? It was just like, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Everyone's so amazing. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember the director of that subdivision. We did a broker open, remember, on the bus tour.
Yeah.
She had like the director of, the president of the country club or whatever there. And I'm like, do you do this for every open house? And she's like, no, I just do it for Tanya. Like I'm here to answer questions. And it's insane.
Yeah.
Our agents go above and beyond when it comes to marketing a property or being innovative. So
They do.
Yeah.
It's fun to learn from everyone. Everybody has a different style. And I think that's the biggest thing about being a younger agent, being able to see different styles on how people do business, I think is just always kind of critical in how you're going to figure out what style works for you, and being able to see what works for other people might not work for you. So just learning from one individual, I feel like, is kind of the hard part, is like their style might not fit what you do and you're only seeing this, as opposed to being able to see all these different styles and figuring out kind of, over the last 5 years, what's worked well for me, what hasn't, and being able to adapt and kind of take on little pieces of other agents and how they handle things has been really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
We have time for one more question if you want to hammer out one more.
Yeah, I do. Do you want to ask the time machine question?
Yeah, I would like to ask the time machine question.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right.
So
Siena, if you could go back in time or forward in time and talk to yourself for 1 minute, it could be 1 year, 10 years, would you go forward in time or would you go back in time? And what do you think you'd ask yourself or tell yourself?
I think I'd go back in time, and I think I would tell myself to stop sweating the small stuff. I think there was a lot of things that you kind of almost get too much in your head about and internalize, and going back, and especially younger self, to be like, hey, like, stop sweating the small stuff, just keep on progressing. Doing is better than not doing. And again, I think similar to what I'm kind of learning is try it. You might fail. There might, again, when we took on the first property, it was break even was all we were hoping for. And it's like, you've had projects that potentially you're like, the risks and stuff, but you're never going to know the upside if you don't do it. And I think just getting myself to move past the small stuff and not stress on so much of that and just be able to move forward and learn, I think is what I would do.
Love it.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. How do people get a hold of Siena? You can share your email, website, your Instagram.
Yeah.
How do people watch that really funny video from, I thought that was Bar Z, but I could be wrong.
Which we've got a lot of, with the
Somebody got
NAR one.
electrocuted in it. Yeah.
I've been electrocuted. I've been tackled by SWAT people. I've been
that one too.
a zombie attacking a builder, all that good stuff. Most recently, we did a funny post one, but Instagram is Siena, SIENA, AZ. Just super simple. But yeah, can email Siena at RETSY. Pretty easy to get a hold of.
Siena the city, not the minivan, right?
Siena the city. Yep. The city in Italy. We talked about this a couple times. Not two N's, just one N.
Well, Siena, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for all your help and everything, RETSY. I'm glad people can finally get to hear the whole backstory.
Yeah.
They see you work hard, but they don't realize how much credit you deserve. So thank you.
Thanks, guys.
For sure. Thank you, Siena.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That wraps up this week's episode of the RETSY podcast. Thanks for listening. Check out the show notes to connect with Siena. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a moment to leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, and please subscribe so you never miss what's next. Next week, Chris and Matt are sitting down with RETSY founding partner, Babby Gable. Here's a sneak preview.
I tell agents this, when your business is dying off, get out there. I mean, whether it's playing in that golf tournament, whether it's hanging at a country club that you belong at, or just your gym. Get to know the people in your exercise class. I mean, network while you're there. But my business falls off if I'm not doing those things.